Series too. Was Saturday a World Series?
I don't recall.
Oh, we're talking World Series.
Started, what?
As a reminder, we're on live.
Hey.
Hello.
Hello.
Yay.
Live on The Price is Right.
That's right. Edit post. Let's make sure we're public. Yay, we are. I didn't have to worry about it.
Are we on the
I'm happy now.
Yeah, I'm on the comments.
Okay.
Yes.
So it'll go right up here, right?
Yes.
We are public. Getting better every week. What do you think?
Sorry.
I see that we're
Huh?
It gets better every week.
I thought you said I get better every week. I'm like, am I that bad?
Wasn't talking about you. Hello, everyone. We're Crossroads. Nice to see everybody. Anthony and Sabrina are going to be my co-host tonight. Woo! And Miss Athena.
Hello.
I have to always go the opposite way because I'm always backwards. Is our guest tonight. I know. I always go the wrong way.
Reminds me of the Brady Bunch squares.
I know.
Oh, yeah. We need a few more. We can have 6.
You should have the intro song, you know.
We can
Brady
do
Bunch
that.
song.
The Brady Bunch. The Brady Bunch. Yeah, we could do that. People would think we're crazy.
That's okay.
But that's fine. I feel crazy all the time.
Mm-hmm. What are you
After my day today,
clicking over there? I hear you clicking.
I'm sorry, I'm clicking.
Just want to make sure we're live. Yeah, we're live.
We are live. Yes, I was clicking. I'm sorry. I clicked.
So what's happening, Athena?
Hi, Athena.
Hello. Nothing. Just hanging out. Just hanging out.
I said I like her hair like that.
Oh yeah, I took I'll have long hair this weekend, so. I always love it because when I go places, people are like, "Oh, I love your color," or I'm like, "Yeah, you can buy it too." It's perfectly fine.
Did you cut your hair all off in the back?
Oh no, it's a bob, but it's shorter
okay.
on.
Oh,
Oh
okay.
God.
Gotcha.
Yeah, one side. Forget it. Then the other.
I wasn't sure because I'm not used to seeing it without the hair lately.
Oh, I know.
So-
I know. I've had hair for so long. So yeah, no, I actually took it out. And now I need it back for this. And then I'll take it out and then I'll be like, let my head rest until next convention season and then it'll be good.
Hi, John Covey.
Hey, guys.
7.
Are you going to the event on Saturday? Or the
Are
weekend?
you asking Athena?
Yeah.
Always. Are
Oh,
you
yeah.
going?
Yep. Oh yeah. My car's already packed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, my car is packed. Well, that's the other thing is like I'm so busy at work and everything like that. So, and I'm literally just getting over freaking being sick. So,
Oh, no.
oh yeah, I know. This is what happens when you work with the public. You know, everybody comes in when they're really sick to get their hair done.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, lovely. You know,
Wear a mask.
oh, yeah. I'm
Yeah.
so happy I don't have to do that anymore.
That had to be terrible, though.
You got used to it though. I mean,
Yeah.
I work 6 days a week, 12-hour days. So it's like I was wearing a mask for that long. And then when I left work, if you had to stop at a store, you still were wearing your mask and everything. So I was walking around with a mask all the time. And it's funny because now that I don't wear a mask and I actually will put it on if I have to go into like the doctor's offices and I start hyperventilating again. Like it was like the first time I'm like, oh my God, I can't breathe.
I can't stand wearing a mask. I can't.
So yeah. And then I just, and I'm like, how did I work in the mask for that long? You just do what you got to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
John Covey said him and his mom will be there on Saturday.
Awesome. Saturday.
I don't know. Do you have a table, John, or are they just attending? I'm not sure.
I'm just going to come and attend. I'm not going to get a table.
Yeah.
So for people that don't know or watching, that not familiar with what we're talking about, we're talking about Para Unity 2023, correct? In Woodbridge.
Yep, Woodbridge.
Mm-hmm.
And that is John Rosario. How do you say his last name?
John Rogerio.
So, yeah,
Rogerio, yep.
We always say it wrong.
I got a little bit of phlegm.
No, they said they're just attending.
Oh, just attending. Oh, great. Mhm.
It's more fun when you attend.
Is it Friday, Saturday?
Friday and Saturday? What is it?
Or is it
No,
Saturday?
Saturday and Sunday. Are they doing the VIP party? I always miss it.
I think
don't know.
they
I don't
said they
know.
are, but I don't know.
Yeah, I always miss it because with being with work, with me taking off Saturday and Sunday, which are the biggest times at the salon,
Uh-huh.
I just like, nah, I'll see everybody on Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
Are
So-
you two, Anthony and Sabrina, are you going to get a table or are you just going to?
No, can't get a
Just attend.
table there.
It's more fun to walk around and say hi to everybody. And
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know.
I won't be there.
oh, you're not going?
No.
Well, long story. Don't want to talk about it. Too controversial right now. It's still a hot topic.
Oh, well, you're going to have to tell me about it later. Don't you do that and then just leave me hanging.
It's not my fault. I just
That's not right, Nanny. No, that's not right.
I'm not part of it, but associated. with the situation.
Oh, of course. I'm not part of it. See how
So-
he pulls himself out of it. See?
So Athena, for people that don't know you, or what are you vending? Like what products, what items? I mean, I know what you do, but like, what do you?
Oh yeah, no, I get.
yeah, we want to know all about you.
Yeah.
Well,
This is your
let's
show
see.
tonight.
That's I always forget that. So I have a witchy stand. So I sell all the witchy stuff. So, but I have to say it's evolved over the years. So in the beginning, I would bring everything for all your witchy experience needs and everything. But now it's more like just have fun, gift store, novelty stuff and everything like that. I mean, I still have a lot of stuff, but I sell everything from like crystals, lots of jewelry. I have a lot of jewelry. Crystals. I don't really bring the herbs anymore. Don't have enough room on the table for them. Candles. It's mostly like, my tarot. I have tons of tarot. That's my thing. So I have tarot, oracle cards, books. I brought in a lot more like books and everything like that. So, and then, that's about t-shirts, tons of t-shirts. And I have like all new
geez.
stuff.
I bought my tarot cards from you.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
got a bunch of Oracle cards from you, and then I also from Para Unity. The last time I went, I have a candle from you. It was the same,
Yes.
the same
Yeah.
item that you made. So I
Mhm.
have it up there. We'll
Yep.
love it.
I gotta get.
for my tables most of the time when I'm doing my healing work.
Uh-huh.
I have that. I have the St. Michael.
Oh, I love St. Michael. I have to get back into doing my candles and everything like that.
Yeah.
John
I love
Toby said
doing
he
my
bought-
candles.
He bought his oracle cards from you.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. I generally try to have the biggest display of tarot and oracle. I just love all of them and everything. And you know what? It's funny though, because they're not my divination source. It's so funny, even though I do have it and everybody, I know, all about it and using it and stuff, but that's not my go-to. Like I will use it, but I'm a medium. So I'll use it just to tune in because it's my focal point to tune in. But generally after I shuffle and I'm tuning in and I tell you what I see, I don't even do anything else. But
you just feel those cards. I can
oh,
feel it.
absolutely. I always joke and say I want to actually have a deck that's just blank and just do it because
That'd be
what I'm doing
cool.
is what you're normally doing and you're just tuning in. So, and anything that is divination. So,
Mhm.
That'd be cool.
yeah. Well, a long time ago, even before they had the basic the decks and everything, they always used playing cards. So,
Yeah, years ago. I
Oh, yeah.
remember that.
I guess she's gonna get something.
Hi, Cindy.
Oh, she's talking. I'm listening. See what you? Oh, she's bringing down something either that she got from you or
Oh,
maybe
cool.
something that you play with. Yeah.
Yep. And then I know probably in time to come, I want to actually start displaying some of my stuff to talk about my angel project. So
What's that?
I have my angel project. It's actually a research project that I'm actually doing. It'll be a lifelong thing. So I'm actually documenting angelic stories. So, and it'll be basically what it is. It's for our field. I want it to be for our field. I don't want it. It's not what I'm looking for myself. It's not meant to. I'm not looking to write a book. I'm not looking to profit off of this. I'm not looking to get my 15 minutes of fame. It's for us. And when we have to actually help people on cases and everything, it's statistical research. That's what I'm actually doing it about. Okay. Plus more than that. So that way we have a guided database that all of us investigators who actually help people can actually go to there. You know, when you have cases, you have someone that they've heard of something or they explain what they're experiencing. And sometimes you'll get, you know, an investigator says, well, I've never heard of this before. And then you can actually maybe possibly go to a database and say, out of 1,000 recorded documented cases, maybe 10% of this, we've heard this happen. You know, it could help us a lot. So
where are you getting your information from?
I get a lot of people that come to me. Actually, it originally started because that's my thing. I'm actually, with my story, I see angels. So over the years, next thing I knew, people who didn't even know I was, you know, what I was part of, what's happened to me. I was even part of the paranormal community. Out of nowhere, they would find me and start telling me their stories. And I started noticing the similarities to a lot of it. I mean, there are definitely differences, but so many similarities. And after a while, it's like, you know, I really have to start writing this down. So I actually try to work with groups, well-known groups, not famous groups, but people that I know that I find credible. Okay. And most of those people I already know they're vetting. They're already vetting through the process, breaking it through, already going through the process, understanding if there's any mental instability, because that's the first thing you really need to go through, okay, with anything. And then since I already know, that sort of dwindles it down a little bit of that I know that it's a more trustworthy story. And all it is, you know, it's non-biased. I'm just documenting the story. That's it.
Right.
That's it.
That's cool.
Yeah, I remember you called me years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, can I call you about your angel? And then I was like, I remember that. It was a long time ago.
Yep. Yeah.
I remember it like it was yesterday, actually.
Yeah.
Well, John Covey said he told you his at the summer.
Yep. Yeah. And that's, you know, and obviously I just, you know, it's a research project and it'll be lifelong because there's no way, like for someone like me that's had experiences. Now, when I document a story, I don't want you to give me 10 years and 10 minutes. I want one experience document. Because it's interesting to know, because there's people that have had one experience. There's people who, like me, have had 20 years worth of experiences. So you can learn from each experience, like what happened in the beginning, what happened as they progressed, how did it progress, what happened through there, see all that. And there's some, you know, and that's the interesting part to that. So, I mean, so there's not even a way I could even, obviously, all the people in the world that's had experiences, but even document all that information. There's so much that's out there.
Definitely.
Oh.
There it is. Remember these?
Oh yes, the gypsy witch.
I like that.
My best friend's mother had these, and she's like, you know, so old, like really old, but you know, they have.
Oh, I'm jealous. I like those.
Yeah.
Like the fortune on the So these are old.
Absolutely.
They're cool though, you know. You can still probably get them, but they're actually playing cards.
Yeah,
but they're fortune tell play cards. So
John Covey wants to know, how can somebody submit an experience to you for your project?
You can actually reach out to me through Facebook. So you can reach out on my Facebook, Athena Balch, B as in boy, ALCH, and message me. So a lot of times you could just friend request. The thing is, you might want to hit me up a couple of times, only because sometimes they get lost, and that I have known. So, and then I'll contact you.
I got hacked, so I lost my whole page. I had to start a new one.
Mm-hmm.
Really pissed me off.
Well, that's the other thing is, like, down the road when I start doing conventions, well, I do, all the time. The unfortunate part is I can't do that many because of being in the salon. So I only can really do like 5 or 6 a year. And I generally try, like, I'm already booked out for next year. And that's what happens, when you sign up for one, you do that one, you already sign up for the next year. So I wish I could do so many, but the more I do my research and everything like that and really get it out there, I'll be talking more about that at the conventions. So, and I'll bring a lot of my stuff. I actually want to make a bulletin board of copies of my things that I actually have. Like my picture that I have of me when I was at Waverly Hills, how I looked when I was there. So many things. My letter that I got from this one lady. It was so funny. I had an experience, and I remember I saw Jesus. And it was really interesting because at that point, I remember him walking up to me, and he pointed to the sky, and he said, the sky opened up. It was like a big hole, and it looked like beings looking down and wisps of energy going up. And I remember him pointing to the sky going, ascension. That's the highest ascension you can achieve. And I was like, okay. And I remember, waking up, and I called up my good friend, and he's a pagan. He's woo.
You went down to the bottom.
Look at that.
I don't know what happened there.
I don't know. That was interesting.
Jesus
She just
and
flipped
We
around.
were ascending, so we're at the top now.
That's right. Look at
She
me
planned that.
again.
She planned that. That Sabrina did that. I know it was her.
So
She's
my
a little
one
sneaky. You got to watch her sometimes.
my one friend, he was actually from the UK, pagan, but it's been generational. So he was actually he was brought up that way. So he said, that was his lineage and stuff. So I remember calling him up and going, oh my God, you'll never believe this. I said, I saw Jesus. And he's like, Athena, we don't believe in Jesus. I said, yeah, I know. He goes, Jesus doesn't exist. I said, yeah, I get that. But I saw Jesus. And he's like, all right, Athena, but he's not real. We don't believe in him. I said, okay. And then 2 days later, I get this letter in my mail. And it literally said, hi, my name is Martha. I just want to let you know that Jesus loves you. And I took a picture of the letter and I sent it to him, and I said, I told you I saw Jesus. That's right. Hallelujah. But
I still want to know how you popped down bottom.
I don't know. Did I hit something?
What did you do, Anthony?
So can you read us really quick? We had a situation or an experience on All Saints Day. I know.
I don't know. I'm a little lost about it, but I have no idea. But strange.
Can you take a guess? Do you see anything, Athena, or feel anything? Do you know where we're going to go with this?
You're making her put her to
I
work.
am putting
You're
her.
putting her to work.
Yeah, you put her on the spot.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Feel it.
Put the feelers out there.
Let me send it to you.
Is it a photograph?
Mm-mm.
No.
Get this photograph. No, sorry. Go. I'm sorry.
I know. In the song, I do that all the time. I don't know why. I was doing that today. Every time somebody'd say something, I break into song.
Now, did you see a very tall shadow?
In Selma, I did, but this happened at where we live.
No, it was the day. Really?
No, I know.
Yeah.
But I did see something. Yeah, I saw this. Yeah. But we have this rosary. It was my glow in the dark rosary. We have these 3 lights. What is it, like a vanity with a mirror? What would you?
Yeah, it's a vanity mirror with the lights, and we keep it above on the lights. And
it's a glow in the dark rosary.
It's a glow in the dark rosary.
So,
it's probably pretty.
We heard something about midnight, and we're like, "What was that noise?" And we couldn't figure out, but we were like just ready to fall asleep, so it was fine. And then all of a sudden, then we woke up, and then it is jingling again, like this weird jingle. And we're like, "What is going on?" So we were looking around, and then we were trying to figure out what was going on, and here the rosary, doing the rosary around that, it made the same exact sound. And also the rosary was like flipped. It was
facing
around.
Our closet.
Which is
it turned. It was moving. We never experienced that. This was on All Saints Day. Never had that.
All right, I'm going to ask you something. Have any of you had did you get any phone calls or anything of someone passing or going to pass or has passed?
No.
Not to my knowledge. That was what I was thinking. I know,
we first thought, was somebody visiting us that's ready or something? We thought maybe my father's fine, my mom's fine, sister's
The only reason I ask is because I see a reaper.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, unless something's close and it's going to happen fast,
Or
just it's just
somebody that's in bad health that I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why I was asking about the dark shadow, because I've seen reapers before. And that's why I see, and it would be more on Sabrina's side that I see. So I don't know if you have anybody that's passed recently but no, I'm not. All right. When I say this, I have to be very careful when I say this. I don't want to, I'm not saying anything bad is going to happen to you or anybody you love no. But I do see a reaper. The only other thing I can think of is, and when I say this is just an assumption, did you do any kind of prayer work, especially All Saints Day? Because you also remember the Reaper is also, it's just like how Santa Muerte is. It's and also Hecate. It's that in between from here to there. So I don't know if you were talking very, of someone that has crossed or anything about that, but I do see a Reaper.
Oh, I'm always praying. So
absolutely.
It was the day before. It was Halloween. So
Halloween.
I was doing. I don't remember if I was praying on Halloween, but I don't know. But I'm always doing prayers. But he was on Saturday. So I thought maybe he who'd you bring home?
You never know.
I think you never know. Yeah, a protection, or it's reacting to the rosary, whatever it may be.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's a possibility.
Yeah,
that's a possibility.
But the first thing I thought was somebody's going to be passing, or somebody.
Yeah, we both thought
so. That was the first thing, and that's not me thinking that. Of course, that's my unconscious, my collective my intuition. That's my higher thing telling me that. It's not me. If that's the first thing that pops up, it's usually correct.
Yeah.
You try to deny it. You try to avoid it. You're like, but you can't. You can't.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you can't. It's out of our control.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, because that's the other thing is, that's the first thing with being a medium. Everybody asks you, I want to know how my loved one is on the other side. And I'm like, they're fine. They're not paying taxes. They're great. They're great. You know what the interesting part is? It's so real over there because I've crossed over a couple of times, and it's so much It's so real. And it's, and I'm not going to say the typical, it's beautiful. It wasn't horrible. It was still another life. You were still living another life. I had a family on the other side.
Mhm.
And I had a miscarriage and I saw my daughter. And I didn't know because obviously it was a very young, right away. And that girl would have been the same age if I added it up correctly to that day.
Wow.
So,
That's really
yeah.
something.
And I knew she was my daughter. And she knew me and I knew her. And I remembered here and everything.
Wow.
So you have a family on the other side. So, and you still meet up with everybody and everything, but you're still living because there's so many different stages of everything. So, and it's the other thing is, and I can honestly tell you the God's honest truth, you do really choose what you want to experience when you come here. And that I do know for real, because I remember same thing too, is I remember I went to sleep and next thing I know, I was sitting at a board table, the weirdest thing in the world. And there were there was people sitting around me and there was a girl sitting in front of me, but there was, almost like a notebook, but more executive, like on the table in front of me. And it said advanced. Now, mind you, I didn't know where the hell I was. I couldn't figure it out for the life of me. The guy next to me was staring at me, monitoring my reaction. Cause I was like, where the hell am I? And the girl in front of me was talking about, I guess, her experience. And she goes, I did this and I did that. And remind me never to do that again. And then I realized, I was like, oh my God, this is really technically all like a game, but not a game, Right. And I was just like, holy cow. And next thing I knew, I was thrown back into my body because I remember sitting up straight in bed. And it was like the force was like, because every time that would happen to me, I'm like, it would just throw me back up. Yeah. And but there's different stages. It depends on where you are in your soul advancement of what you're going to be doing, on the other side and where you're going, because there's all other dimensional planes and stuff. Yeah. So
I always wanted to know what it's like, and who do you talk to say, well, what's it like over there? I
experienced, there was one time I was walking through my house and it was a house and all I kept hearing is, this is our house, our house, our house. And it was beautiful. And I remembered my children, but it seemed like a dream, but that was so real. And I remember walking through the house and all I kept thinking, is this a dream or was that a dream with my children, like here? And I remember getting to one point that there was rain on the outside, but it flowed differently. It wasn't, it almost floated. It was weird. I knew it was rain, but it was different. And all I thought is, I didn't know if I should be out in it because I didn't know where the hell I was. I didn't know if it was toxic or anything like that. And next thing I know, I heard ringing and I woke up. And when I woke up, I was back here and I was crying because I didn't want to be here. And that's not something I would generally do because I love my children. I wouldn't want to leave my children, but yeah. But there were other parts of other places that I've seen too that were more mystical in essence. Like I remember the one dream that I had, I saw a big obelisk and it had the picture of Gabriel on it. And it had written and carved in it, Gabriel. That's how I knew. And I remember it was like I was with a field trip. There was a teacher and some other people. And I was so drawn to the statue and I started walking up to it and the teacher's going, no. I'm going, yes. And I went over to it and I touched it and I spoke in another language and my voice was completely different. It was very, it reminded me of the voice that you heard. It's almost robotic in a way. It was different. It was different completely. And the obelisk opened up like a door.
Mhm.
And I walked right through it. And I remember seeing a line of angels. And I remember standing there like a kid in a candy store going, "Wow, they got wings," you know? And I'm just standing, and they all looked at me like I was not supposed to be there at all.
Get out, lady.
Yes, like who let her in? You know, like the party crasher. Like who
let
let
you
her
in
in?
here?
About this
And-
community.
Yeah. And then I remember the one, I know he was a male, but he was so beautiful. He was almost feminine, but he was a male. You could tell by his energy. The weird part was he wore glasses, which was weird. And I remember him walking up to me, shaking his head. And I'm like, what? And he's like, you knew what you did. I'm like, what? And then I got kicked out. And I was like, look at that. I got kicked out of heaven twice. So
So angels wear glasses, huh?
he didn't have wings on. I
Oh,
can't tell
okay.
you who he was or whatever, and that was more mystical. It didn't look like what you would see here. It was very not natural at all, you know? And like I said, I just remember it was a line of angels and there was a man standing in front of them, almost like anointing them or something. He was just standing. I just remember them all turning to look at me like, you're not supposed to be here, you know?
Now, when the door opened up, what did you see first? What was the first thing you saw? You said the door from the obelisk opened up, was it dark? Was it light?
No, it was light. It was completely light. Yeah,
light.
It was all light. And I walked into it was this huge room, but it reminded me like it was in the sky or something. Not saying I was in clouds or anything, but it was huge. It was, you know, and then, like I said, I saw all of the angels just standing in a row. And they all, you know, and they had armor on, they had breastplates and everything, and they had wings. And I just remember going, they've got wings. Look at that. They really do have breastplates. And I'm like a little kid when I see them. They all laugh at me. You know, they're like,
Well, how many people see them and can talk about it later? You know,
yeah,
it doesn't happen often.
We're like infants, but in our plane, in spiritual plane, we might be a higher age, but we will always be just like, we're like kids.
Oh God, yeah, because I say the stupidest things when I see them.
Yeah.
Literally every
We're
time.
very emotional, earthbound beings. But our mental state, our spiritual side is much higher in age. But to them, we're nothing. So we're like still like you said, we're infants because of our emotional level.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm a complete infant. I'm even on human level. So.
Yeah, lately I've been getting these crazy dreams. Like I had the other day, I had a dream of Godzilla, like and I'm like on a ship, and I'm like, you know,
Godzilla.
What is, you know, fire going
I'll be
on?
right back. I get it.
I'm like,
That's
man,
only because you married Anthony. That's why you're having Godzilla dreams.
he was in the dream too. It's like bizarre dream.
Oh my God.
I thought he was Godzilla.
But yeah, I forgot to tell him I literally had Godzilla in my dream. You know, well, who the hell has Godzilla in their dream, mate? You know?
Oh my God.
Lucky you.
That's too funny.
Fire, he's going all over, and I'm trying to hide, and you know, meanwhile I'm like also you know, on a boat that's sinking. I'm like, I'm just doing great here.
Oh, geez.
Sinking boat and Godzilla.
That's a good dream. What do you think?
I have to say, what were you watching?
I wasn't watching anything. This is how you learn. This is how, no, I don't know.
So,
I don't
Athena,
know.
what got you
I've been
started
really
in this? How did you feel? How did you figure out that you had this ability?
I didn't notice it. Well, I was different. I've always been different, but I didn't have any of this until I was in my 30s. And that's because I had a major experience. So I would say very close to a possession case. It would have been. So, yeah. And I remember when it all started, I remember hearing things. I could hear someone speak. And the interesting part was the words I was hearing were faster than my thoughts could process it, you know. And then I met one person on a site, and we started talking, and it was just that one person, and it was like, boom. And I remember her saying, I know who you're hearing from. And next thing I know, that was it. It was like a catalyst. And I remember the one night I went to bed, and my daughter actually came in the room in the middle of the night, and she's like, I don't feel well, Mom. And I was like, okay. And I went to put her back to bed, and it was eerie. It was so still in the house. You could just tell something wasn't right. And I put her back to bed, and I went back in my room, and I laid down, and it sounded like a jetliner was going to hit the house. It was, and I don't know if that's what woke me up. I don't know what woke me up, but it sounded like a jetliner, like something was going to hit the house. It was the loudest thing I've ever heard. And then I saw this man in my room in the corner, but it looked like he was outlined in blue light. It looked like someone drew him. And then I remember him looking at me, and I wasn't screaming. I was kind of like, you're trying to figure out what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember him just in a very deep, authoritative voice, just going, you want to play? And then I remember him floating over, and all he did was touch my leg. And that was it. Just touched it. And I remember my body floating up and moving like it was nothing. And then I still didn't scream. And then I don't know what really made me scream at that point, but I went to scream, and I remember hands just going on my mouth. And I can't remember anything past that point. And then, but when I woke up, I had marks on my body. So, yeah. And then things were happening. More and more things were happening in the house. And I just thought I was going crazy. I just thought I was nuts. I did at that point could hear very well. I couldn't see at all, but I could hear, like me and you talking.
Mm-hmm.
And I still remember the one time, and I just thought I was crazy. I thought I was schizophrenic at that point. I thought I was just losing my mind. And I was trying to debunk myself all the time. And then this, I remember this, I could hear the man, and there was two of them. There was one, and then there was two. And the interesting part, he would talk about God, but he would say, he goes, you call him God, but we call him Father Creator.
Okay.
And then he would go, all along the lines and stuff. And that's not something I really truly believed in. I didn't believe in a lot of that stuff and everything. And he would ask, certain things like, why aren't you going to church? And why aren't you doing this? And you need to get back to church, and you need to do this. I'm like, I don't believe in that stuff, And then I laughed, because at some points, I'm trying to find help now. And you getting these people of love and light and all this stuff. And I'm like, really? Because my guy here keeps telling me I need to clean my house. Your house is dirty. Your kids aren't being taken care of, all this stuff. And I still remember the one time my children, I had 3 children, and he came in, I was folding laundry, and I remember hearing him, and I heard him laughing. And mind you, now I'm thinking it's still my schizophrenic self. I'm trying to debunk myself. And I was like, what are you laughing at? And I heard him say, your son just fell down the stairs. I'm like, nah. So I walk out, and my daughters were laughing. And I'm like, what are you guys laughing about? And they were like, oh, Hunter fell down the stairs. And I was like, well, wow, my schizophrenic self is really intelligent, because there's no way to know this. I'm really trying to debunk myself. And the more and more I tried to do it, I just wasn't. I went for help. I finally found somebody. I went to, actually, that's one of the photographs. I went to Waverly Hills, Not that I ever wanted to do an investigation. That was the first one I did. And it was to see a demonologist. And I sent him, because I started automatic writing. And the automatic writing that I did was interesting because it was very scientific. They would talk about places they were from, all of this just weird stuff. And I remember meeting him, and I already was in contact with him for a few years. And I just remember the first time I met him, he was like, I hate to tell you this, you're in this for life. And I said, well, I wasn't hoping that. I kind of had a feeling that, but I didn't want to know. And he goes, you're telling me so much things that you shouldn't know. He goes, you're telling me stuff that's written in books that no one's allowed to read unless you're anointed or whatever from the Vatican. These are books that no one's allowed to read. Because when I saw wings, I saw black wings. I did not see white. And he says, that's truth. He said, they have black wings, and a lot of the phrases that I heard and they said to me and everything like that were on key. And then I started getting just my best EVP. I did not turn my recorder on. My recorder turned on all by itself and recorded it. Wow. So, yeah. And I remember that I had a photograph of a huge black smoke-like thing in my house. And the interesting part is my ferret that I had at the time was looking at it. So there was a lot that happened. So much. So, and it hasn't really stopped from there. It was very bad. It was very bad in the beginning. But then I started seeing, that's when Mary came to me. I saw Mary. Yeah, I saw Mary, and she came, and then the angels all came and everything. And the interesting part is most of my dreams that I would get, I would actually walk around in the dreams. I still remember the one time I had holes in my hand. And I remember looking at the woman in the dream going, do you see these? Do you see these? And she would look at me. She goes, you're not supposed to be here. And when she said Jesus's name, she didn't say it like we said it. She was like, Jezua, Jezua. And I was, the more I looked up stuff, I was knowing things that I shouldn't know at all, especially when I saw Mary. Oh my gosh, she was so beautiful. I had an angel who would take me to see her, and it was a boy. And when I was there, I knew who I was seeing before I saw her. I knew that I was seeing Mary. No one said anything. It was never mentioned, nothing. It looked like I was in a Greek museum. There were marble cherubs everywhere. Everything looked like marble, pristine. And I just fell to my knees. And I fell to my knees and I started crying because I was like, I'm not clean enough to be here. I should not be here at all. I'm not clean. And then I saw her, and it was almost like a TV screen in a way. It was really weird. And she was on it. She didn't have a covering over her head at all, but I knew who she was. Not once did she say who she was or anything, but it's not a question I recognized her. I knew. It's hard to explain, but that's how it is. You just know. It's not that I assumed or I recognized her. I just knew who she was. It was like something whacked you inside the head and says, this is who you're seeing.
Right.
And I remember her when she spoke to me, it was like she was singing, but she wasn't singing. Her voice was so beautiful. And I remember she said, we're from a higher plane. And then I saw the angel I say he's an angel. I saw the man I always would see in my dreams behind her. And this is what I mean. I say the stupidest things. Now, here I am seeing the Blessed Mother, and I see the man, and I totally forget about her. I didn't forget about her. I'm going, that's him. That's the guy. That's the guy. And it zoomed right into him. And he had blonde, wavy hair, about to here. And he was wearing almost like the Roman style, like cloth white covering You know, like it almost looks like a dress, but it's not a dress. Yeah.
Toga?
Something like that.
There you go.
But he had a braided belt on him. And when it zoomed into him, next thing you know, his face warped and turned into a lion. That's why I have the lion tattoo on my,
Oh.
yeah. So I was like, huh. But I just remember just screaming, that's the guy. That's him. You know, because that's the guy I would always see in my dreams, you know. And yeah, I have so many of them. Same thing, too, is when I started getting Michael and they would finally start saying his name. I remember putting my son to school and my kids to school, and I came back in and I went to bed. And when I laid down, no sooner did my head touch the pillow, I felt my leg being yanked. And next thing I know, I'm on a dirt road. I mean, literally, it almost appeared like nighttime. And I'm literally screaming because I'm being dragged, not nicely, dragged. And my fingernails are in the ground. And I am just screaming. And finally, he stopped and dropped me. Not nice, just dropped me. And I remember looking up and all I saw were black wings, just black wings. And I remember this very authoritative male booming voice saying, swear your allegiance to God and renounce anything in the name of Satan. And then it's like someone just threw me back in my body because I literally sat straight up in bed, not because it was like the force of it. Like, you know, it was just the weirdest thing. And all I remember is going, what the hell just happened? You know, I was like, what was this? Now, I tell people this all the time because it sounds like I'm a diehard Catholic and I have nothing against the Catholic faith or anything like that. I'm a witch, you know, I'm a witch. And this is who I am. I'll never change who I say who I am because this is who I am. And I want people to understand that's not my belief system. It's changed my life completely forever. But it's not like I was spoon raised and fed or anything like that. You know, that's not my belief system. And all this is, you know, it was like a whole turning point in my whole life. You know, I didn't believe in a lot of that stuff.
You should write all this stuff down, or do you?
I do. You know,
I'm so bad at writing things in books. I wish I, you know, had the ability just to get up and, oh God, I remember this dream. I got to write everything down and who I saw and what it was like and all that. But I'm so bad at it. I mean, I have some tucked away from I always had my issues too. And I wrote them down because I thought I was going crazy too. Because I thought I needed help. And, you know, I'm just, you know, I wanted to remember I wanted to know what was going on when I didn't know what was going on. You know what I mean?
Oh no, I know.
Your time lapses and everything just like stop you you like what happened and stuff. So it would write them down, you know, but I wish I could kept on doing that as far as now. Like
I have so many journals. And the interesting part is God bless the person when I pass away that ever tries to decipher my journals.
Oh, man.
Because not only have I stopped, I picked up and wrote things in places. So it's all mismatched dates, everything. But I had picked them up and read them. And especially if I went back to the beginning, you shake a little because you do forget some of the stuff you went through. And then when you read it, it's the same reason too, and I feel so bad because I know so many people, like both of you, all of you know in the field, I don't read anybody's books, especially of any dark cases, because I live it. And when I read it, it brings the reality of its reality, because some of it, which I can, when I read it and you're reading what you've experienced in black and white, and you're like, at some level in your head, you're almost comfortable with saying, I thought I was crazy. And then when you read it in black and white and you're like, oh God, no, that really happened, you know, and it's scary. It changes you. I have a good point. I don't know if, since all of you deal with this and stuff, I had a case that I got. See, it's funny. Like, I worked on some of the cases, but it's more or less people give me pictures and I tell them what I see. And in one of the cases, of course, it's, most of it always involves kids. And the one kid was seeing something, and the picture of what I saw, I said to the lead investigator, I said, can you ask the mom, this is what I'm seeing? And the mom was like, no, can you talk to the child? I went, no, I won't. And they were like, lead investigators, why not? I said, let me explain to you what I've been through. And I'm going to show you the picture as close as I can get of what I saw. So I Googled a picture that came close, not exact, but what I saw. And when I sent it to him, he goes, oh my God. And I went, yeah. I said, see that picture? I said, I see it. And I think that boy sees it. Mm-hmm. And I said, imagine that. I know what it's like to think in your head that's your imagination. Now imagine someone you never knew is telling you see the same thing. That is going to change his world forever. I'd rather talk to the mother and see if he's talking about the same thing. Because I know what, for me as a victim, I know what that's like. It changes. You start shaking. Like, I shook for days when I realized some of the things that I saw my face melt in a mirror. I've seen horrific, I've had horrific things happen to me and stuff. And all I thought is, God forbid I describe this picture to this kid. And I'm not talking an 18-year-old or a 16. You're talking about an 8-year-old little boy. And I describe, what I think I see, what I see. And I know what it felt like when I read things, and in my head, I was hoping at some point it was my imagination. At least that was safe, and I could, like I said, this is a point of view of a victim, and I know what it did to me. I can't imagine having a child realize something, and then be like, holy crap, the monster that I think is, real, because what I saw was scary. And when I showed the picture to the guy, he was like, oh my God. And I said, yeah, this is the image I am seeing. I'd rather talk to everybody else, like the mother, to see, and not only that, I don't believe a true investigation should be based on what I see. I'll tell you what I see, but there still needs to be so much other work that's done. It shouldn't be based on a medium,
right.
Or anything like that.
Absolutely.
You get a lot of people asking for readings when you go to places.
Yeah, but I have to, especially I have a lot of health issues, so I have to be careful, and I pick and choose, because I really truly believe you're put in the path of where you're supposed to be, and into the direction of people you're supposed to be. When I started getting very sick with my cancer, and I still have a lot of health issues, I had to be careful of going to certain areas and stuff, because I still have my attachment. So I have to be careful, because my attachment can leak into other cases just to get to me. So I have to be careful of what I do, because that has happened to me and stuff like that. They know. They know how to get you. They're a lot more intelligent than any, gives you credit for, because it's military, it's all military, and that would be the typical military, I know how to get to you. So, and I'm not stupid. Like, I was asked to do an event, and my friend asked if I could do a seance. And I was like, well, I can get you someone to do a seance. I know I could do a seance, but I'm not going to be there for the seance. I will be out of there before the seance.
Yeah.
And he understood, totally acceptable. And I'll exactly explain to you exactly why. I was actually there to teach candle magic. It felt a little stupid because it was all about divination, and everybody took up all the other parts. And I'm like, I don't know what I can do. I'm like, candle magic, I guess, which I was explaining to everybody about it and stuff. But it was towards the end of the night. Everybody already walked through. So I actually had time to myself, and it was a little museum, and I like history. So I was all by myself, and I run down to the museum, and I'm like, yes, I'm going to look at stuff. And as I'm walking around by myself, some girl runs that I don't even know, runs down, starts yelling for me, Athena, I'm getting a divination with rods. And the spirit wants to talk to you. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? I'm like, are you kidding me? Yes, someone wants to speak to you. I'm like, please don't tell me his name's Bob. Please don't tell me his name's Bob. So sure enough, I mean, that's exactly what I mean. And that's how it happens. I wasn't even looking, and that's exactly what happened. I was like, and this is why I don't stay for the seance.
I haven't done a seance in years. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's what he called Dana Winger. Sometimes, like when she's working on me, she has to get somebody else, because we have the same like attachment that like she's like, she had that happen to her like one time when she was trying to do a healing, and she had to walk away, and Tess had to take over. It's like, you'll never believe that what's the same thing is the same for her.
Yeah.
And she had to actually, was trying to get to her through me.
Oh yeah.
Because it was there. And I'm like, really? That's like freaking weird. It's like, there's millions of, them out there, legions. And, of course we have the same one.
No. You want to know why? Because we're all connected.
Yeah.
So, and I don't mean it like there's always the connection. So we're all in the same, and that's exactly what happens. And I know, that to a T. I was part of a deliverance, which I'm not even going to talk about, because that was So I was part of that team, and that's actually how I met Bill Freeman. Oh, that was a funny experience. And I love him, because I remember, trust me, I didn't look to be part of this at all. This is the second time I was actually part of this one. I shouldn't even say stupid case. I was part of this one case, but I went into it. I don't mean stupid by any standards, but twice now. And the first time I thought I was going for coffee. I did not know I was walking through a house to do an investigation. Yeah, I literally thought I was going out for coffee, and it didn't make sense. Yeah.
Oh, by the way.
Yeah. And then, I was on it and off of it. And then the second time, I kept getting hammered for weeks by a few entities. And then I got the name already, because I've already dealt with this, and it's one that I've dealt with quite a few times. And then, sure enough, I get the phone call, and the girl on the other end says Athena. And I swear to God, she said the entity's name, plain as day. And I almost dropped my phone. And I went, say that again. And what she said wasn't anything that I heard. Yeah.
Make it a 3-pin.
Yeah. And it wasn't that, but she's like, Athena, we need you to be part of this deliverance. I'm like, I already knew, because I had all those dreams. I'm like, crap, here I go. I get sucked into these things. So I got part of the Dominion Ministries. I got interviewed for that, and I'm like, I don't know how I'm getting involved in this. So, and I'm part of it. Yeah. And I met Bill Freeman. The funniest part is, I remember when we were there, he was so funny. He looks at me, because I remember James Anito saying she doesn't really know anything. And Bill says, I don't have time to teach you crap. Just shut up and do as you're told.
That's Bill.
That sounds like Bill.
That sounds like Bill.
I can hear him saying it.
Oh yay!
That's exactly actually through how I met Bill too, because it was like through the Dominion Ministries.
He says, "Yep, that's him."
With James Anito in at the Penhurst, the Paracon, the first one, the one with Bob and Dave Giuliano did.
Yeah.
So that's how I met right? Yeah, I met Bill that way. I'm pretty sure that's how I started because Bill was in with the Dominion Ministries.
Yes.
And I came in to say hello to James, and he was in there, and then I met all the other guys, and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it was hysterical. And I remember though having the meeting with James and Bill, and I told them because the day before we were actually doing the deliverance, I had a complete vision, complete. And I remember it because I remember, oh my God, as I say, I remember, and I total draw a blank. Oh no. I had to come up with the word.
You can do it. Come on.
You can do it. Oh my God. I remember in a room, and my one friend and I were standing there, and I saw this bright light. And I remember saying, Rich, do you see that light? Do you see that light? And then it was a church. And I walked into the light, and I walked into the church, and there was a few people standing in the pews. Well, not sitting in the pews. And I knew who they were. I know what they were. And all I remember is standing behind them, and I knew. And all I went was, Diablo. And they turned around and looked right at me. Yeah. And at that point, the entity entered. And I say this all the time with a lot of my experiences. I wish I can go under and have someone recall. I literally must have had a 2-hour conversation with this thing. I don't remember. I can remember the tone of his voice, what he sounded like. I cannot tell you what he said to me. I could tell you what I said to him, but I can't recall anything he said to me. And I know I had a 2-hour conversation with him. And the only thing I do remember is I remember looking at him going, I don't know what more you can do to me. I've already had my wings taken from me. And then I was shown a scene of what was going to happen kind of during the deliverance or after the deliverance. And I remember telling Bill and James, and it happened exactly as I said it was. It happened exactly at that way. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But like a lot of the times like that I've had parts that I have missing, I wish I could go under and have like a legit person, you know, someone that actually does recall memory. And I remember talking to the demonologist that helped me, and I told him that so many times because there's some things that are missing. And I said, I want to remember. He goes, your mind might not be able to handle what you're missing.
Yeah, they're probably protecting you from that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The divine part, you know.
Yeah. Because there is like that one time, like I said, when I was moved on my bed, I just remember passing out and then just waking up. And then like that, 2 hours, I know I can remember his voice. And I remember I even said the name to Bill, and he goes, yeah. And that name I know because that name's come up to me many times before. And that's what happens. And that's the demonologist, the one that dealt with me. He always said the same thing. For some reason, anybody who's in a case, you'll deal with the same one over your whole life.
Your whole life, yeah.
Yeah. I
could still see what he looks like. You know, he's over there, you know, but I can still see. And like I tell him, I said, if anything, any kind of issues or any kind of, you could feel we're getting close. Like I said, certain things I'll know a case, and that's another thing that when things were happening in the room the other night, it was maybe there's a case coming up. Like he says, you know, what do you call somebody passing? But sometimes like little things like that, like alert me that maybe somebody's ready to call me.
Oh yeah, I've done that. I've actually called people.
It's usually her. She usually gets the hit first, unfortunately. Like something she'll say or feel or hear or whatever. And like, you know, happened, you know, when it was more from when I was with South Jersey Ghost Research and we were at the one place, like as, you know, she's much younger, you know what I mean? So she says something or, you know, not knowing. And then all of a sudden I'm like, okay, you know, and I'll go to Marty. I'm like, guess what? Something's coming. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh no, I've actually called people. I've reached out to people that I don't even know, and I said, and James would say this all the time, because every time I would see James, I'd look at him, I said, you have a case coming up.
Yeah.
And everything.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. So yeah.
All I keep
like
hearing is
something's happening here
fireworks.
too, and then Joe
People on
Moyer's,
fireworks.
family will call. Like, in fact, that's funny that I said Joe Moyer. I went to the house to do a blessing. The house last week. It was last Friday.
Mhm.
Last Friday I did it. So
Yeah.
maybe Joe Moyer is saying thank you. Yeah.
yes, absolutely.
You never know. I'm trying to tune into this one because this was just an odd one. And both of our heads were trying to wrap around it, but it could have been anything,
My rule of thumb is when you've been in this field or around this for a long time, when you're what I call is your spidey sense, just, when it's something.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I normally sit back and go, I'm just going to see what this is, because I know this is something.
Yeah.
Now I'm just going to wait and let it reveal itself,
Right.
at that point. But normally, when it's something.
Yeah. But I did, it was weird because remember when we did, last night I went through the entire house, like purging and cleaning and all that. I'm like, I was going nuts. Like I was like on overdrive doing things and, so
Now it's quiet.
now it's quiet.
Because she did rearrange things, but that could have something to do with,
You get a changing energy.
Yeah, that's what I say.
Yeah.
To change the energy fields.
Yeah. I do a lot of changing her.
But I mean, that doesn't matter if it's something much higher, and we'll find out if it continues, then we know we're dealing with something a little bit.
Oh, absolutely, because they'll always let you know.
Yeah, you can't manipulate the fields because they'll get through no matter what. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. When I stopped my hearing, that's when my dreams started. Because what I started hearing, when I could hear, like, oh my God, I could just hear. It scared me. And that's when I started automatic writing. So, the things I would hear. Oh my God. And I still remember one day I would do automatic writing, and I remember waking up and there was a man leaning over me in my bed, and he was writing in my palm. And he said, because he was mimicking what I do with the automatic writing. Okay. He said, you shut me out. And then I sat straight up and there was nobody there.
Hi, Gina.
Oh, hey, Gina.
Hey, Gina, and Dee is on.
Dee's on. You got the whole crowd here. We're listening. Yeah. We're here for a little bit.
Got all the people in the house, right?
Yeah, haunted house. Yeah. That was amazing. That was amazing. Oh my gosh! Wow. So
I know what a deep subjects we're talking about. We got right to demonology.
Oh, sorry.
No. Oh, it's okay. I mean,
that's my
thing. We leave groups and all, but it just never. I was like, I'm not going to do any cases anymore. But you wind up doing something. No. Somewhere along the line, we're helping. And I always said, I said, if the universe, God wants to take care and help somebody at that point, but I'm not going to chase something. I'm not going to go into a group and do specifically negative cases or anything.
No, I don't like. I mean, I don't like to.
He wants to, but I'm like, I'm not putting it out. I'm not. It's
she
not
just threw you under the bus. Did you see that, Anthony? She just threw you right under.
I'm telling you, I just like if it's meant to be. But I'm not.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
No. You can't.
If it's meant to be, like with other groups, they're like going out. All right, we do negative.
I can't do that. I can't.
Bring them in.
Well, that's the other thing is you know what? I get so mad.
Yeah.
A little bit when I see people, but then again, I stand back because I'm like, if you really saw the real thing, you wouldn't be that excited.
Exactly. I can't believe. You know what? I'm just. I cannot believe there's. All demonologists everywhere now. It's like, oh my God, everybody's demonologists now. And that word drives me crazy.
No, we're not using that word. We'll talk about that more.
Yeah. I just feel like if you were meant to do that work,
it finds you.
It finds you.
It finds you. Like I said, every case I ever ended up on, I didn't want to. I still remember I had to do talks talk shows and everything on the one case. And every time they were like, "Oh, how did you end up on here?" I'm like, "I thought I was going for coffee." Like, I didn't know I was supposed to be doing this, you
get
know?
stuck right in there, Athena, don't you?
Yeah. But then in other cases that, you know, when you speak, like if you do a lecture or something like that, and like in this instance, it kind of helps other people because with cases like us, we've been on both ends of the chair. You know what I mean? We've been on this side of the chair and we've been on that side of the chair, and we get to understand how the victim, like you said.
Oh yeah, I get my point of view of the victim, so I know what it's like to be the victim.
And when they hear that you have been at that point, then they open up more and they can help you more trusting of you and that you would understand them. So unfortunately, sometimes I think if it wasn't for those lessons, as hard as it was dealing with, you know, then it helped me help others. You know, you know, so
absolutely.
The only benefit
for a reason. Everything happens for a reason.
It really sucks.
Absolutely.
But
I'll tell you a funny story. Oh my God, there was a one year at Gettysburg.
It was like that one time in band camp. You know?
You know, like over in Gettysburg.
Well, my rule of thumb is like I'm there for 3 days. So, of course, I opened up a wine cooler. Well, I found out from Megan, you know, with Megan and the cups and everything. Yeah. Well, you can fit 3 wine coolers in them things, you know. So I was drinking all day long. I was drinking all day long. So Bill was in doing a lecture on demonology. So Bill was in there, Sean was in there, like a whole bunch of them.
And
so
you're drunk as anything, right?
Yeah. So Jinju is like, Athena, do you want to go in? I was like, yeah, let's go in. We'll stand in the back. Oh my God, never take Athena when she's been drinking. So of course I'm in the back standing there. I'm trying to be inconspicuous, which didn't work. And every time they were saying something, I'm raising my hand going, I got the answer.
Don't take you anywhere.
So at the end of it, I looked at Jinju and I said, remind me never to come in here drunk again.
Oh, I would have loved to see that.
Oh my God.
I could see Bill's face too. I could just.
I could see the anger in his eyes. I could feel it.
Well, it's funny because quite a few of them knew me on the panel. And they're like, yeah, Athena knows. Yeah, Athena knows. Yeah. And I'm going, but that's how you're supposed to do it. No, you shouldn't do that. And why would you ask that question? That's a stupid question.
How many bottles did you drink? Yeah.
Well, it was so funny because at the end, you know, everybody's going for dinner and stuff. Well, that was before Bill had to, I think, go. And I still remember looking at Bill going, hey, can I go out to dinner with you guys? And he's like, yeah, of course, at the end. I said, good. Can you drive? I'm intoxicated. Yeah.
Funny. Yeah,
she knows she can't shut up when she drinks.
That's kind of funny you're mentioning Bill. Because we've mentioned Bill quite a few times. We just pulled out the $2 bills.
Yes.
Ah.
I was looking for it.
He was looking.
It was weird. I had this frustration and anger that would be similar in Bill. So it was like it didn't feel like me, and I was like, "Where's my $2 bills? I know I had it over here." and I was punching around, like, you know how he paced when he used to be paced in Selma when he was just trying to, you know, in that commanding way, and he had that. You know, I was doing that. I was very. And I remember snapping out of it.
He's like,
here's $2 bills.
I'm like, I know where the $2 bills are. I know exactly where the $2 bills are. He's like, no, I had them in the card. And I'm like, I know where the $2 bills are. But they were Bill's. Bill gave us the
$2 bills.
Because Taylor would get the $2 bills, and I, you know, so it was like, oh God, so he had like an envelope full of $2 bills.
But I wasn't thinking about it, and it just came to me. Where's my $2 bills? So maybe he was maybe.
Yeah, but that's funny. Yeah. We're talking about Bill, and then, you know, yesterday we were talking about Bill.
Yeah.
And Bill's in the air.
We do miss Bill.
Yeah, I miss him so much.
Maybe he wanted me to think of him, and then he's like, "You'll think of me. Look for those $2 bills. I'm gonna."
You guys want to see something really cute?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What? Oh.
Are they sleeping?
Oh, hearing us talk, you probably put them to sleep.
Did you put them to sleep, Athena?
No.
Oh my
She's
God.
just like,
I just want to give that.
that's it. I'm just laying right here.
Did you drug them up?
I know, 'cause they're like,
Sorry, I know you heard me barking.
mine are probably on my side of the bed when I go in there, and I'll have to push them over.
It's there.
Can't annoy these
Well,
guys.
I think we're done for the night. What do you think, people?
Oh, I'm like afraid going to bed tonight. I'm gonna have like dreams of like wing.
I just don't know about Godzilla coming back again.
Well, you got to write it down, Sabrina. We can make a book out of it.
That's right.
We'll do a
I know.
Godzilla book,
I know.
but we'll name the Godzilla Anthony.
What?
We're going to name Godzilla Anthony.
So
Look at him. He's like, "Ugh."
yeah, so Athena, before you go, so I'm getting a very important spiritual degree.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Can you see anything now with me? Do you
You're
see-
really putting in work.
He's dying to make her work tonight.
So it's in Colorado. It's a degree that takes place in Judea. The temple's destroyed. And that's really all I know, because there's a lot of esoteric things I'm not supposed to know. So I don't know. Do you think I don't know.
What do you want to know?
I
You're
don't
not
know.
supposed to know.
No, but maybe she sees something that will, because you always get guides when you receive something, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're not seeing your guide?
No, I wonder if she sees anything. Do you
Not
see
yet.
any colors, any lights, anything? No.
Not yet.
Not yet? Okay.
Not yet.
I have to receive it then first. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Well, you also let me tune in,
Yeah, you're
'Cause
putting her
that's
on
it.
the spot.
Oh, I'm putting it.
Yeah, we just threw her under the bus, too. Let's see how it is.
It's okay.
So what am I hitting the lottery? You got to let me know.
Oh,
when I'm hitting
no.
the lottery.
I didn't.
Ah.
Nobody will tell me when I'm hitting the lottery.
Same with me.
You know what I always say? I chose to be very poor in this life, and I decided to excel at it. That's it.
I'm doing really well at it.
So I'm
I'm doing really
excelling,
well.
and I'm excelling well.
I
Me too.
won the loser lottery. We have a thing called the loser lottery here. It's a
What's the
box.
loser
You
lottery?
put your loser tickets in it,
Oh,
and every week they pull out. I won the loser lottery.
You did? Well,
I got.
there's-
They give you $5 worth of scratch offs,
Oh.
and I won
Ah.
$2 on that. So
Oh, there you go.
I'm a loser winner. Winner,
wait,
loser.
I do see something around you, Jody. I see an aura of
Lottery tickets?
loser. I see it in Latin.
I
Translate.
love you too,
Who's
Anthony.
here?
I'm so glad we're friends.
I see the light of losing.
Yes, I feel the friendship. Do you feel it? Do you feel the love?
Yes, all the way.
All over, yeah. So when I win the lottery, Anthony, I'm not sharing it with you.
Oh shoot! I shouldn't say anything. I knew it. That's my punishment.
Yep.
You know I'll share.
Yeah.
I'll go buy the Selma, and we'll all own it then.
Oh, that'd
This
be
is what I deal with every day.
I
Yeah.
love that.
awesome. Oh, look at.
Aw.
Look
Are
at
they
the little
funny?
guy waking up the big one.
Yeah.
Oh,
Aw, he's just a baby. He's
They-
just a baby. Look at the puppy. He's just
look
a
at
little
him.
Yep, that's them.
That's your kids.
Oh my God. I literally put the other one. It's like having like a very little baby. She is so tiring. I actually put her down for a nap on Monday to go to
Did it
sleep,
work?
and we all went to sleep. Like, remember when your babies were little, when your
Mhm.
baby took a nap, you all went down at the same time. That was it. You know?
My dogs have nap time. It's like between 12:30 and 1. That's their nap time.
Nancy.
And they go in my bed and they plop their asses down and out they go. Well, Athena, it has been a wonderful hour with you.
Oh, thank
You
you.
need to come back again.
Yeah, as we're yawning, we're so old.
I know.
Oh, thank you.
We're
I
yawning,
know.
so old. It's like at bedtime.
I know. We're gonna have to start our shows at 8:00 now, because we're getting too old for this shit. This late night. I used to be a late night person, but not anymore.
No.
Oh my God, I need my sleep.
Well, it's because of my husband. He gets up at 3:00 in the morning for work, so he wakes me up every day.
That's my first pee break.
Oh, I pee all
Yeah.
night long too. Yeah,
Then I
that's
go
all
back
it is.
to bed.
Probably my fourth pee break.
It's all the time.
Yeah.
Next week we have Dave and Ernie, my Bert and Ernie's. I call them
Oh.
Bert and Ernie.
Oh, that's a little one. Yeah.
And
The
you
big
guys
one's
will be
sitting on
away,
her.
Anthony and Sabrina, right? You're
Wait,
gonna be
what?
you're gonna be away next week, right?
Yeah, we'll be away.
have
Yeah,
a
we'll be in
wonderful trip.
Colorado. So,
Have a wonderful trip.
thank you.
Take
Yeah,
lots of pictures like you always do.
Yes, his new degree. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Yeah, I might be stuck in a hotel room for a lot of time. But we'll
No.
see.
Yeah,
Are
just
you going to be
take a nap.
wearing a red hat?
Huh?
I said,
What?
are you wearing a red hat?
Am I wearing a red hat?
For me.
Anthony. Yeah.
Keep going. You're nailing on the dot.
Well, it's a red.
Ooh.
It's a red hat with the thing on the top.
Oh, that's the Shriners. No, but you're right. You're right about some things, but I can't keep.
Mhm.
That's why you're thinking of the Shriners.
Mm-hmm.
But you're right about some things, but I don't know.
Color red?
Maybe I can't really. I can't.
Maybe.
I can't disclose that. Not right now.
Oh, now you're asking me to look in. You can't
You
say
can look-
anything.
Yeah, see how you-
I don't want to. I want to.
He's holding out.
You saw
It's
something.
okay.
You
Yes.
saw something, but if you're thinking of Shriners, then no.
Yeah.
But that is an important color.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. I wonder why you saw that. And the question is, I don't know if I'm going to have a red hat,
Mm-hmm.
but we'll talk and see.
Well, you know what? If you do have a red hat, make sure you take a picture of yourself with one and send it to Athena.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, he took the picture of the deer that I told him about.
Oh,
That
I saw
was
the picture. That was
crazy.
cool.
that's why we need a part 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh
Because
yes,
That
Athena's
was
coming
right
back.
that was right. You called it.
on our hand fasting. He
Mhm.
It appeared
the
for me.
reading, and then it came.
She told me to look for
Right
the
at-
stag, the buck.
And it was
Mhm.
right at where we were
He
sleeping.
wanted me to acknowledge me. No, he saw me before I saw him,
I mean,
and then he was only right.
yeah, but it was
about-
where the cabin.
Yeah,
was.
no, it was the cabinet, but he stopped and he looked at
Oh
me.
god, that was crazy.
Acknowledgement. It was
Ooh.
literally the day after, so I'm like consciously, it's my new beginning, and
Mm-hmm.
it appeared before me, and the walking was loud, and then I usually see it first, right, and it saw me, and then I look, we made contact, and it was so weird. It was like, and then he just like I acknowledged him because I had to see that, and then he just,
Mhm.
it was so
Yeah, that
It
was
was-
surreal.
it was surreal,
That's cool.
surreal.
I
Yeah,
saw those pictures. They were cool.
that's special, man.
But Athena's coming back, right, Athena?
Yeah,
I will.
we can
I'll
get
send
into
you some
that.
dates, and you can tell me
Signs
what
and
you're.
symbols and all that.
Yeah, signs and symbols day. Oh, my hair.
What's wrong
I'm
with
a
your hair?
mess.
It looks fine.
Crap, I'm tired.
My hair's in a bag. I got to put it on.
Okay.
It's in a bag. Well, good luck this weekend.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank
I'll
you.
see you there, Athena. I'm going to be there.
I'm going to be at Soma though for December 2nd.
Okay.
I'm gonna not be there either.
Nope.
I'll be at Southern Mansion in Cape May.
Oh, darn.
I know.
I know. Darn. We're gonna be there Friday, Saturday, into Sunday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Ooh, that stinks.
You don't get around.
Saturday.
It was a gift. It was a gift.
It's a gift.
So
It's our.
Oh, my
I
God.
couldn't change anything with that one, but it was
Aww.
It's awesome. I told her I wanted to stay there so bad. It is.
yeah.
Yeah.
This is a bucket list of a B&B. One
Where
of the bucket list of B&Bs.
Oh, see, that's nice.
Yep.
Yeah. So.
You know what my first question is anytime I stay anywhere? No one's died here, right?
Oh,
It's my
Not
first
that they know
freaking
of.
question. No
Did
one
you die
died
here?
here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
right.
All right.
We had somebody on our team that used to always ask, "Did you die here?" It's like, can you ask another question, please?
That's a paranormal thing.
Every time we went out on an investigation, did you die here? It's like, oh my God. So now that's like the ongoing joke on SOS.
All right.
Anyway, we're all going to go night-night, and thank you everybody for watching and listening.
Thank
And
you.
thank you, Anthony and Sabrina, again. Have a safe trip.
I said, wait,
Yeah.
Athena, thank you. Mwah, mwah, mwah. I'll see you on Saturday, probably.
Thank you so much,
Yes.
Athena.
Then I can give you a big hug with all your hair. And,
That's right. All my luscious hair.
yeah, she'll have her hair.
Have a good time with everybody.
And we're going to go night-night. And thank you,
All
everybody.
right.
All right.
See you next week.
Good night, guys.